What if your father's abuse caused you to do some pretty bad things? In a series of videos here, I've been talking to all of you who unfortunately and tragically have been abused by your fathers. But the reality is that sometimes hurt people hurt people. And sometimes people who have been sinned against sin themselves. I think of a story I heard a couple of years ago about a woman who had been sexually abused. She was attending a local church, and it was discovered that she had been shockingly promiscuous, like way out of bounds. And her pastor sat down with her and tried to understand why. Why would she do something so sexually deviant? And in the midst of the conversation, she said this to him: "I'm a dirty girl. That's why I do dirty things." The pastor probed a little deeper and realized that she thought she was a dirty girl because that is what her abuser told her. That she was unworthy, she was twisted, that no one could ever love her, that she was not clean. To control her, he used that phrase with her, and so when she grew up, she behaved accordingly. It actually happens a lot with abuse. If growing up you were verbally abused and told that you were fat and worthless and unworthy and you never have a good relationship and you're so lucky to have me, it affects the way you think and it can affect the choices that you make. Maybe some of you have gotten into future abusive relationships because you think you don't deserve any better. And you should leave and you should protect your own son, your daughter, but you stay because you think that's all you can get. Or maybe some of you have reacted by trying to numb the pain. It hurts thinking about what was done to you. And so you drink too much, and you get high, and you experiment with drugs, you pop too many pills. Or maybe your response to abuse is the more sanctified version. You throw yourself into work. You're going to prove your father wrong. He said you're worthless. You're going to make enough money and have enough accomplishments to make him look stupid. Right? You're going to do big things, and so you're successful and you're driven, but what the people at the company don't see is why. That you're driven by the deep wounds in your heart of feeling that you're worthless and you'll never, ever, ever be good enough. Whatever the situation, that moment comes for a lot of Christian people, and a lot of people in general, who one day open their eyes and realize that they're doing bad things, maybe because bad things were done to them. And if that's you, the question might also pop into your mind: is there any hope? Maybe you didn't see it till just now, but you've been working that many hours, you've been partying that many weekends, you've been having relationships like this, you've thrown off the biblical boundaries of sex, and now you realize, I've sinned against God, against a good father. Is there any hope? And the answer to that question, the beautiful, glorious, eternity-changing answer to that question is absolutely yes. There's a story that Jesus told in the Bible in Luke chapter 15. And it's about a young man who sinned in really shameful ways. Not because of his abusive father, but he ended up squandering crazy money on prostitutes, living a wild life, and ending up with nothing. And then the moment came when he wondered if there was hope. Could he go back? Back to his father, back to God. He had sinned against heaven, against his own family. Could a guy like him be forgiven? And so he makes the long journey home. And according to Jesus, his father sees him from a distance. And this is what Jesus said: "But while the son was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. The son said, 'Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you. I'm not worthy to be called your son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger, sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead, and he's alive again. He was lost and is found.'" Now, Jesus told that story for you. You might be lost in life. You might be driven by work, by partying, whatever it is. It can be an ugly version, a socially acceptable version. But maybe you realize today that you've been lost, that the abuse affected you. But Jesus says you can come home. If you squandered it, if you've prostituted yourself to work or actual prostitution, even then, Jesus said, you can come home. If you wasted too much time and energy, if you've been far, far from God and you wonder, can I go back to a church? Can I talk to a holy God? Can I open this book? Can I ever call myself his son, his daughter, his child? Jesus' story is the answer. He says, this son of mine, not this former son of mine, this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost, but now he is found. So I want to tell you that as clearly as I can. In these videos, I've tried to help you learn how to heal and why you should forgive and why forgiveness is a process and if you should have a relationship with your Father. But more than anything, I want you to hear this. Can you be forgiven? Yes. Are you already forgiven? Because Jesus died on the cross, the answer is yes. So come home. The Father's arms are open wide. The door is unlocked. The table is set. The angels cannot wait to celebrate. Come home. So Jesus can say this about you too. The son of mine was dead, and he's alive again. He was lost, but now he's found. If you or someone you know is suffering from abuse, please go to timeofgrace.org/abuse to find more resources and information for getting help.